When I grow up, I do not want to be like Bailey and Curly. No way. I have higher standards than that.
They make me laugh. At the same time, scare the shit out of me. What will they say next?
Welcome to the roller coaster world of Bailey and Curly. Unfiltered. While this voice may be artificial, the unfiltered musings from our hosts certainly are not. Make yourself comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get unfiltered. Here's your hosts, Bailey and Curly.
Coming to you live from the second biggest city in South Australia, we have Bailey from Mount Gambia and from, of course, the tropical humid that is Queensland. You've got Curly. Welcome to Bailey and Curly fucking Unfiltered Christmas edition. How are you, Bailey?
I'm good, Curly. How are you?
I am not bad. I've actually, finished up work muchly this week. I didn't have too many appointments, so I'm feeling in the holiday mood. I've got a nice cold pale ale in front of me, so it's beginning to taste a little bit like Christmas.
Like Christmas. Very nice. Yeah, I've got a Summersby pear cider in front of me.
Oh, you're a cider boy.
Yeah, I like my sweet stuff. I like my cider and my Moscato. I've got a second one there in case I need it too.
And you're in Mount Gambia, and you're obviously in Mount Gambia. You've got family there, and it's Christmas time.
It is Christmas time. So, yeah, in Mount Gambia today, which is good for a couple of days for Christmas. And, yeah, here with Dad and my sister at the moment.
Right. How's Karen?
She's at work. I haven't seen her yet. So, yeah, so she finishes at 11. I'll try and be awake. I've been up since 4:30. Worked this morning and then drove over. So I feel like I've got a second win now.
So your second visit to Mount Gambia since the legendary lockdown finished? Yeah,
so second in 2 weeks. So, Mum started work at 3:30 and I got here a bit after 4. So we just missed each other.
So what are your plans for Chrissy then?
Well, I've got to work Christmas Day. So I'll be leaving Mount Gambier very, very early to drive over back to Melbourne, back to work. So we're doing our Christmas tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do the presents and we're doing a Christmas dinner. Mum and Dad and my sister, they'll still do something Christmas Day. But, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow for us and the presents I got and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Is it normal for you to work Chrissy Day?
Well, funny you say that because I was thinking before, I haven't worked Christmas in a couple of years, but it feels like I've worked every one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It didn't work last year. That was unordinary circumstances. Year before I had it off, and I've been in Melbourne the last couple of years.
Yeah.
For Christmas, but yeah, the way the cookie crumbles, as some might say. So, yeah, being in aviation, I've always sort of worked, which is nice. I always do something. Like I look back on the last 10 years of Christmases, and every Christmas is different, and I like that. I like that every Christmas has been different.
Yeah.
What are your Christmas plans?
Yeah, well, not a great deal, to be honest. We'll do what we normally do, just have a quiet Christmas here with the kids. They've got partners, both of them, so they've got to do the Christmas shuffle, as I call it, breakfast and lunch at our place and dinner at somewhere else. So, and then Sharon and I pop over to a good friend's place in the afternoon and we just spend the rest of the day with them. So, yeah, just a quiet little Christmas. And it's interesting when you were talking about aviation, Sharon's always wanted to fly Christmas Day.
New York?
Yeah, to get to New York. So start Christmas here, have Christmas breakfast, get on a plane, and then get there in time to enjoy Christmas or the last hour or so in New York.
I was going to say, because if you left there Christmas Day, I reckon you get there at 5, 6 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
Because you get to LA in the morning, but then it's about a 5-6 hour flight over to New York.
It would really depend on the amount of time that you caught at LA or
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's always part of her goals that's something that she wants to do. So I'm sure one day I'll be joining you lovely aviation workers on the flight over.
I think that's one thing I've it's been in back of my mind as well to do is do Christmas over in the States and do my birthday in the States because my birthday's in June, so obviously it's cold here. So I'd like to go over to America for my birthday one year and spend the summer. I've done, Thanksgiving and Halloween. They're the two big ones I want to do first, and then Christmas will come, and so my birthday at some point.
I did my 50th in the US, so
yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was cool. It was 50th in New York, and on that trip we also went to Vegas and San Francisco. So really nice way to break the big 5-0. So
I love San Francisco. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah, I do too. It's one of my favorites. So and it's just unique in the way that it's laid out, in the way that it's got it just feels different. Yeah.
Yeah. We last time I was there, I hired a bike. And did the push bike and rode. It's a massive ride, but then you end up riding on the Golden Gate Bridge. And then
that's so cool.
And then you get a ferry back, and you ride past Fisherman's Wharf down there. Yeah. Pier 39.
Yeah, where the sea critters or the sea lions are. That's all pretty cool. So
yeah,
I've been all I'm really hoping for Chrissy this year is that my pool's fit enough to clean, because I think I've shared the story that over the last couple of seasons the only person that jumps in the pool is the dog, and so this year I said, no, I've got to get the pool looking decent, and it has been horrendous trying to do it. But anyway, we're getting there. We got 2 days to get the pool up to swimming.
Speaking of pools, I was in Canberra last week recording some music.
Yeah,
and I think my voice is telling me how it went today, because I've got a bit of a sore throat, and
it's not COVID.
No.
You were close to a hotspot.
Was I?
Canberra's a couple of hours away, but still it's close.
May as well say you're close too. It was really good. I ended up staying with a mate, and I didn't know this at the time, but I brought my board shorts up. Yeah. And he actually had a pool at his house. So.
Oh, cool.
That was nice to jump in the pool, and it was good. I really miss swimming in a pool. Really miss it.
Absolutely. So let's look back on the year that's been. So we've both got some pretty cool plans for Chrissy. You're with family now. That's awesome. And it must make you feel really grateful to be there after the year that you've had.
Oh, absolutely. When I came last time, it was just so emotional. And then it just feels like a weight's been lifted off coming here this time, because there was no one. Last time I was here, there was a few Ks after the border, there was police, and you have to have an ET number, which is a tracing number, but they're gone here now. So I still got the number, but they're gone from the border. So you don't need
so you could just drive through
like normal.
Well, we were planning on going to Armidale just on a couple of days, doing a bit of a tour around northern New South Wales, and I've got family in Armidale. But that was until, of course, we've now shut the border again. So I think the border's open to everywhere bar Sydney, but just having those hard borders and 2.5 hours to get through the checkpoint, you sort of think, do I really want to go through that? So
how many times have you opened and closed in New South Wales now?
I've got it just does my head in, Matt. It really does,
It does. I said to someone the other day, I said, I've lost all confidence in this country.
Yeah.
They've all fucked it.
Yeah, well, also, and WA, once again, I mean, WA just slammed the border down straight away. It's we're not Australian anymore. We're not united in this. We're just saying,
no.
We just keep our state safe. So if that's going to, I don't know the way forward, because, once again, there would be so many people from Sydney that would have booked to be coming to Queensland over Christmas. And they're not coming now and they can't come. And, the headlines here when we reopened the border was all about, look at, this has been the biggest booking day for, it's eight times the normal day.
That was last time we spoke.
Yeah, and which is great. But now that we've shut the border, all those people are now thinking, well, I'm not going to book now. All of a sudden we've got this whole thing that there's more people impacted because we've closed the border. And I think next time we won't get that response. People just say, no, I don't want to make plans.
Fuck it. Yeah, exactly. And we've spoken numerous times on this podcast about, you had your Adelaide plans. I remember when you first brought it up, you're like, I'm not sure if I can do it.
Yeah.
And then the next podcast, you booked it, and then you end up having to cancel it anyway.
Yeah.
Why can't we look at these numbers that are happening in New South Wales as a country instead of a fucking state?
Yeah.
Let's look at, okay, Australia's got 83 new whatever it is.
Yeah. And the numbers were 8 today. So, it's really interesting. Like I spend probably far too much time on Twitter, but all these Victorian people were on there bagging the hell out of New South Wales and their gold, because ScoMo apparently came out and called New South Wales the gold standard for contract tracing or something. So I've got no idea. But so all these Victorians are up there saying, it's your turn now. And, sucked in, it was almost like they were pointing the finger and saying sucked in and all this stuff. And then, yesterday, I think there was 15 cases. Today there was 8. So it's going the right way.
I do, as a Victorian, I do get their frustration because, like, I would swap planes with like a crew in Canberra, who would be a Sydney base, and they're like, "Ew, Victorians, get away from me." It's like, fuck off. Like, it really just makes you feel like shit. So
and
I can understand the Victorians being like, fuck you guys, you gave it to us.
Yeah.
We went through fucking hell in Victoria.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
But I can understand the Victorians.
Yeah. Yeah. The old Dan fans, they just love him. So, and even now that he's come out and apologized, his office was graffitied today, apparently.
Again.
Yeah. Someone spray painted Sack Dan and I think labelled him a murderer. So, there's still a bit of heat down there in Victoria, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm still wearing a mask. Anyway, what I was going to ask you spend a lot of time on Twitter. China's fucking done a pretty good job, haven't they? Their cases are down. Like,
I'm very you talk to most anyone and they'll say they're quite, what's the word I will use? They're quite suspicious of China's numbers. So, because I think when they first had that hit, I'm positive that they sat around 70,000 cases or something very early in the piece when they first had it. Yeah. And they're still only around 80,000. So, and it would be hard to believe that the country where it originated from has only had 80,000 cases of COVID. The other thing that worries me, and I'm becoming a real conspiracy bloody theorist,
Me too, mate, me too.
But I'm sort of waiting for the day that people highlight China as being the gold standard for looking after COVID. And in respect of China being like the socialist model. And that's the last thing that I personally would want to see spoken about here or in any democracy, that socialism is the best way to deal with a pandemic, because, that's just an ideal that none of us have. So, So, and it's interesting. I think China gets on average about 20 new cases a day, and you just think, oh my God, how many billions of people? Like, their population is huge. Yeah. And they're getting 20 to 30 cases. It's unheard of. Yeah. But it is interesting.
Looking back at 2020,
Mate.
Have we got any highlights?
Well, what would you say? Well, you recorded music last week.
Yeah, so, but nothing's coming out for a while, but one song is completed, which is good.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next one. So yeah, it was so good. It was so bizarre to be up there.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and yeah, just looking forward to getting back up there again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good.
So what was the best thing that happened to you this year, Matt?
Honestly, reuniting with my family.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mum, dad, and my sister.
Yeah.
Just to think that actually got taken away from me is bizarre, though.
Yeah.
Like, actually, it's great. I can't believe we're in fucking December, Tony. Like, just thinking like what's happened in the year. Like, Crew Life made the radio. That was fucking big. That was
huge.
That was huge. That was
should
huge.
have made more radio.
Fucking oath, it should have. That song, I love that song.
Yeah.
I flew with this pilot the other day, and I was telling him about it, and he was from Adelaide. He's like, "Oh, you're the guy that released Crew Life. I heard some guy in Melbourne released it because it you release a song like that, it just spreads like COVID in aviation, and yeah." Turned 30. That was good. Spending with mum and dad. That was good.
You're a young pup.
Young pup.
Yeah.
I learned a lot this year, which I'm very grateful for. Like, we may not have done much this year, but having a lot of time to think, and I've binged so many podcasts, and starting this podcast, that's good.
Yeah.
I love it.
It
has been fun, and I can't wait for many more. And this is episode 11, I think.
11. We've broken into double digits, and I've told you many times the average life of a podcast is less than 10 episodes. So somewhere along the line, we've made it to 11. So
we've made it.
Can I tell you something funny? I had one of those. I get more spam emails than you could ever hope to get in a lifetime. Once you run a business, you just run that risk of, you've got to have your email on the website, and then people just spam the shit out of you. But I had a lady contact me this week saying, "I really love Bailey and Curly Unfiltered. Do you want some editing done?"
What the fuck do they want to edit?
And I just thought, she's obviously hasn't listened to the podcast, because we don't do any editing. We just record it, swear, and away we go. So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. That's was really funny.
Cool. What are your highlights this year?
Well, I'm really glad I made it to Japan. So, and when I think back at, this time last year, I was sweating my ass off getting fit for the Tokyo Marathon, and running in the heat of Queensland in summer is probably not the wisest thing to be doing, but that's what we had to do. But I'm glad we made it to Japan. I'm disappointed, of course, that we didn't make it to Chicago, and we couldn't run those two marathons. But
because the Tokyo one got cancelled, didn't it?
Yeah. But we still went, and I love Japan. I actually can't wait to get back now. It's one of those things that you loved it more when you left, because you suddenly realized that everything that you were I won't say anxious, but everything that you were concerned about, not speaking the language, all of that, really didn't make that big a deal. So, and it was just such a unique, Japan is so different from Australia. So I can't wait to get back. So I was really glad we did that. Really glad we ultimately ran 2 marathons. So they were virtual marathons, and the virtual London and the virtual New York. Really disappointed I didn't get my 2 books written that I was going to, but I've got 2 half books. And one of the things that I've come to realize is that at the moment, I'm going through a bit of a reset, because I'm just looking at everything that I do, and I've got too many half projects that are half done. And it's like when you're in the recording studio, you finish a song. I've got to make a call on which projects I need to cull, and then really focus in, because there's a opportunity coming up with another program from a leader in the States that wants to sort of have me as their, for want of another word, their Australian agent, if that makes any sense. But at the moment, I can't fit it in because of all these half little things that I do. So I just need to get rid of the half things. And it's all about that focus. And I think there was so much distraction this year. And, the funny thing, Matt, is that I help so many businesses get through distraction and get really clear around what it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
But then I've been distracted. So that makes absolutely no sense. So this is a really good time for me at the moment. So I've got a book that I really want to write that's going to be the book. It's called The Anatomy of a Leader. I've had the framework for the book just over here on my office now. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And so I think this year is the year that I've just got to get that done.
Yeah.
I'll park the other two and I'll just focus on getting that one done. I think that'll then create a bit of a foundation for something else. So
it's funny you say that about Japan, because that's how I felt about New York. New York wasn't one of the top places I wanted to go, because you sort of see enough of it, and I sort of knew what it was. But going there and then leaving, and now look back on it, I'm like, I appreciate it, and I really like it for what it was, because of the memories I shared with the person I went with.
Yeah.
So, sometimes things don't become something until you do something, and then you look back on it.
And you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were I was in LA, and it was 25 degrees sunshine, and then flying to New York, it was like 10, 11 degrees cloudy and rainy. And I'm someone that my mood changes in winter. Like, I don't like winter.
Yeah.
Well, Melbourne, down here, winter.
Yeah, Melbourne winter.
You wouldn't know what rain is. But yeah, that's how I feel about New York now. And then obviously coronavirus happened, which made me even sort of appreciate it even more.
Yeah.
I went to Grilled yesterday for lunch with a mate, and I was wearing my Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios hoodie, and the girl who served me, she saw it and said something. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so jealous because they've cancelled it now." And then that made me appreciate that as well. Like, things will go back to normal. Who knows when and when the theme parks and stuff will open, but that made me appreciate it even more. Like, I love the Universal Studios, their Horror Nights. That was freaking amazing. Yeah. And it's funny you say about different projects, because like this EP, it's one project. Yeah. I don't know how musicians do like multiple things. I think you just do more of it, and you just, so, and like you said, we focused on one track. Yeah. And then now that's done. Don't have to touch it again. We go to a second track. Yeah. And then, once they're all done, we'll probably listen through them all again just to see if we do want to change anything. And
it's like final editing of a book. So you want to write the book, and then you want someone else to edit it. So that they're actually...
And you can't rush either. Like, I've seen people rush things, and you can tell the rush. You can hear the rush in a song if someone's put out something that they haven't taken their time with. Yeah. Yeah. Same with anything in life, with your book, Yeah.
It was interesting. I one of the reasons why I love New York, and we've got family there that were in Greenpoint in Brooklyn, and now they've moved more into, I think, Brooklyn Heights. I think I might be wrong. So Nick, if you're listening, sorry, but one of the things that I love about New York is just that high density living, and the little place on the corner that does breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's just that community hub. Yeah. And people, you get different people on different nights, but it's always packed. It's always people there. There's just a community vibe. And, I really thought about it last night because Sharon had to go to the physio at Wollongabba last night. So, at 6:30 her appointment, so we're leaving that and walking back into this place at Wollongabba where we parked, and it's like this apartment block, and underneath there's a Coles, there's a pub, and there's cafes, and the cafes were shut. Like the cafes were shut at 3:00, and then you look at the pub and there's like 3 people there, and then you turn around, you see all these fucking Uber Eats drivers, and you just go, we've got this apartment block here filled with people, and they're ordering Uber Eats, instead of being part of that community. And Uber Eats and Deliveroo and Menulog and all of those places, they're, I'm not bagging them at all, but just that whole thing of building community is just something that I love about New York. And, we don't get it.
They're famous for their hot dog stands too, aren't they, in New York? Yeah. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's just that whole concept of community. You go down to a park, there's people everywhere, and, we have people in our parks on weekends. You go down a park here at 6:00 and it's like there's no one around.
Yeah.
But there's people there. So and they have to be there because of the high density living. But it's just such a nice community feel. But that's I guess what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I've come out of it. I'm still standing. I'm grateful that I was able to help people through the process. A bit frustrated with where my business currently sits at the moment, but at the end of the day, I've got to. It's about getting that clarity and moving into 2021. So, but at the I haven't had to wear a mask. I'm grateful for that. So I guess for me, those are pretty much my highlights, my friend. So
good thing.
Probably
good things
put
to be
on
grateful
too
for.
many kilos,
as we all have.
those COVID kilos. But once again, we've got Sharon and I have got a bit of a plan for that. So we'll just see where we end up with that. So it should be good.
Yeah.
So looking forward to 21. So
me too. I think everything we had planned in 2020 will happen in 2021.
Yeah.
My EP and music videos, and
it almost
whatever.
Feels like we'll just forget about 2021, and at some stage there in 2021 we'll just say, oh my God, we're almost back to some sort of normality. It was interesting. It was Gravy Day yesterday, Matt, as you know, and I wish you a happy Gravy Day. And
you did,
and
Mum even posted it on Facebook.
All right,
she shared it. Yeah, it's a thing in our family. Yeah.
So I still think back. I think it was 2 years ago. Paul Kelly played up here, and me and you had a podcast interview on the next day when you were on a fly in and fly out. So
in South Bank. So I'm grateful for those Brisbane trips I had, because I don't fly there anymore. I fly to regional ports. Speaking of, we announced the other day we are going to be flying to Mount Gambia out of Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Second biggest city in South Australia.
Yeah. So
if you can make it in Mount Gambia, you can make it anywhere.
That's it. But yeah, I'm so grateful for those Brisbane trips we did, and that podcast we did. Yeah.
But one of those things in Gravy Day, and the reason why I brought Gravy Day up is one of the lines of in the song is, if I get good behaviour, I'll be out of here by July. So that's my aim for COVID. The world's got to be out of COVID by July. So we've all got to be in good behaviour, and we've got to get out of here by July. If it's still going in July, to the extent that it is now, I think we are going to just be in a world of an even bigger world of hurt, because we're either going to get to the stage where people just get over it and say fuck it, and we'll go back to the old survival of the fittest mentality, or that there'll be some level of, I mean, we saw civil disobedience in Victoria, of course, but I think that if it continues, those levels of civil disobedience will just go through the roof. So,
and that's why I said I've lost all confidence in this country, because we are now in December. It all started happening around March. Why are we still locking the borders? Like, is this going to be the thing?
Yeah, it is going to be the thing.
Close borders, open borders, close, open, close. Like, fucking make up your mind.
Queensland will get a cluster. Queensland, it's almost odds on, you would think, that there will be clusters in all states still. So this will continue on for a while, and whether it's a cluster of 10 or 15, or I think I think New South Wales at the moment overall is about 80. But we're going to continue to have that. It's just COVID's out there. It's in the world, It's being picked up in our sewerage. So, there were 4 places in Queensland during the week where COVID was picked up in sewerage. Now, Queensland hasn't eliminated COVID.
How the fuck do they test that shit?
I've got.
Like, hang on, has this river got COVID? It's displaying symptoms.
Do you realise just what you said? We're talking sewerage, and you say, "How do we test that shit?" I've got no idea how we test that shit. But they do. So they've got either that, or it's just something that keeps us on our toes. If you listen to some of the conspiracy people, they say, "Oh, just here we go again." So, it's here. So the reality is that it's not going away anytime soon. And I've said many in time, Matt, we've just got to learn to live with this thing. So,
yeah, I actually know some of my friends have actually got it.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, like this whole year, I haven't known anyone. They're in LA, so I know there's a lot more cases there.
Yeah.
But they're doing fine. They're doing good.
Yeah.
One guy, my mate, it's husband and wife. He said it's just like a head cold, but unfortunately she's got asthma, so she's obviously struggling to breathe, but she's getting better, which is good.
Yeah.
And then the old vaccine, let's hope that changes the world.
Well,
there's another debate. But
it is, absolutely. And let's not get into any more debates about COVID. So Matt, is there any Christmas message that you want to send to our listeners?
Don't take any shit from anyone and be kind.
Yeah, be kind to each other.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to start, I think.
Yeah. What are your plans for next year?
Want to get that Anatomy of a Leader written. So I think that's really, really important for me now. We're going to do the Outback Marathon in July. So we're going to run around. I think it's a course that's near Uluru. So looking forward to that. That'll be our only marathon that we do.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about international. So I don't expect the borders internationally to be open. And you're closer to that than I am, but I can't see us having free travel anytime soon. So,
nah. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much the plans. I want to create a bit more business for me, a bit more recurring business. Some months I'll be awesome. Other months, it's just the ebbs and flows of small business. So I need to smooth that out. So the big plan, obviously the book, will run the marathon around Uluru, and just want to make sure that I've got a sustainable business model. So what about yourself? 2021?
The EP, hopefully that'll be out.
Yeah.
And not going to say too much just yet, but hopefully another track. I'm going to release another track in February.
Oh, wow.
Before the EP.
Yeah.
and then there's a music video to film and a few other, just pretty much the big music projects. Pretty much it.
Awesome.
When I was in the studio last week, he pulled up the song and it said last modified 11 months ago.
Wow.
And I was like, fucking hell. Like, it feels like we went from July to December.
Yeah.
When we went into lockdown and then we're out of it and now.
Yeah. Every day in 2020 seemed to feel like every other day. And now all of a sudden we're right at the end of it. And I think everyone's realized, like, the thing that I've noticed is that everyone is tired. Everyone is just done. And, people are just looking forward to, whether it's time off or some quality time off or just to, sit around out on your back deck, have a couple of beers with people that you love and, dip your toes in the pool or whatever you do at Christmas, eat too many prawns. I think people are just needing that because this
year... There's a lot of people worked more this year.
Yeah.
Where I work less, so I'm like, just get me back to work. And, I can feel my body's taking a toll. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You're working again.
Yeah.
So my body's getting used to that working routine and going to sleep, at a regular hour again.
Yeah.
So, and Christmas time is usually the time where a lot of people have the time off too.
Yeah. So what are you hoping Santa Claus brings you, mate?
A barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah, a barbecue. Funny story, I've never owned a barbecue.
Okay.
And I made the decision like 9 years ago. I'm like, when I move to Melbourne, I'll get a barbecue because I didn't want to get a barbecue when I lived in Hobart or Canberra because I'm like, I don't want to keep moving it. And I really just didn't have much furniture over those few years. So hoping for a barbecue, mate. What about you?
Oh, no, I've got a new pair of running shoes that are under the tree, and that's pretty much about it. I'm one of these guys. My wife hates it, but I'm just one of these people that if I need something, I'll just go get it. Yeah. And then, I'll come home with, a new pair of running shorts or a top or something for the computer or the office. And she'll say, oh, fuck, I was going to buy that for Christmas for you. Okay. well, you can't now. So, I'm just going to be happy with, we do the little stockings with socks and jocks and bloody deodorant. So, I think it's all, I'm just grateful for whatever's there. I'm just grateful for, there's no big ticket item. I'd like a pool to swim in. So that's the big thing I've got to do over the next 2 days.
I really love giving. I really love giving gifts. So I can't wait to see the family members' face, what I got them. And I won't say too much because I don't know if they're home or not.
Okay.
I'm in my old childhood bedroom and they were ducking out to get pizza for dinner for us. I don't know if they've come back. So
all right.
Next podcast, when we do that, I'll tell you.
You can talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's aim for our next one being on New Year's Eve so we can share a couple of bevies and enjoy New Year's Eve with our listener base. So, Matty, final Christmas message for the be kind to each other. Is that it?
Be kind. And get on the beers.
Get on the beers. Good old Dan Andrews gets a little thing in there.
Just be kind and know your self-worth. That's one thing I've realized recently. Know your self-worth. Yeah,
cool. Know your value, absolutely. And if I did have a Christmas wish, if I did have a Christmas wish, I would really like for people to listen to each other. That would be nice. I think that just because you think one way doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who doesn't think like that is wrong. So when we listen to each other, we can actually learn to understand each other. And, I think that whole concept of understanding each other fits in nicely with your being kind to each other.
Yeah.
So Merry Christmas, Matt. Merry Christmas to all our listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Bailey and Curly fucking Unfiltered. A little bit sedate, a little bit quiet here as we come to the end of the year. Let's ramp that up. Our next episode will be on New Year's Eve. Come along and enjoy a couple of beers, especially if you're not going clubbing or you don't have friends that you want to hang around with us.
Or you've got work 6:45 a.m. New Year's Day.
Absolutely. Just hook in with us. We'll do that one live on YouTube. And we'll get that one out there. But Matty, have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Tony, you too, mate. Thank you.
Thank God that's over. If you didn't like it, leave a review to warn others, or share it with people you want to annoy. If you did like it, I'm sorry, you cannot be helped, so you may as well leave a good review. I guess the boys will appreciate it. As Curly would say, don't be an asshole. Hopefully, I won't see you next time. Goodbye.